When you go online and look at a rescue organization and you look at various dogs, each of those dogs is going to have a story. And all of those stories will be unique to that dog, just like you yourself have a unique household. And when you choose to take on one of these animals, you are agreeing to join your story with theirs.
Winnie! Winnie! Hi! Hi, bud! Look at you!
So Winnie was born to a family up near Barrie, Ontario. And when he was born and they realized that he was pretty well missing front legs, they realized they should start the hunt early to find someone that might take him. He was about 4 weeks old at the time, this tiny little nugget with the tiniest little front arm nubs. He had a big personality very early on in life. Winnie was just full of beans. Since he was my first, everywhere with me. So if I was going to Starbucks, he would come, or anywhere I was going, I'd bring him.
We knew that Houston was a breeder surrender when he came into care with Save Me from the breeder, that he had quite a bad infection all over his face and his ears and even parts of his paws. The condition was caused from lack of proper medical care and lack of appropriate conditions for him to grow. And so he was surrendered, and Save Me immediately stepped up and got him the medical care that he needed. And within a couple of weeks, the condition that he had really began to improve, which just goes to show that there was no need for him to have been in the condition that he was in, that a simple bit of veterinary care would have prevented it completely.
Jersey came to me through fostering with Canadian Dachshund Rescue. When she first came, we did not have a clear diagnosis, so we were in the middle of vet visits. And when it's not managed in the proper way, she regurgitates. So she requires a specialized diet, which is essentially soft food blended in a mixer. So she sits upright as she's eating, and then she has to stay in the chair between 30 and 40 minutes in order to allow gravity to move the food down to her stomach.
Jenna came to live with us the end of February 2022. She was originally a foster dog and had come into our rescue as part of a multi-pull of dogs from a large commercial breeder. And she never left. We all fell madly in love with her. She fit in our home with all the people and the other dogs. And we realized that she was meant to be our girl. And we've never looked back. We couldn't be happier that she came into our lives. Jenna very much lived the life of a puppy mill dog. She spent almost the first 3 years of her life in a barn, and it was as bad as anything you imagine about mills, even though this was a licensed facility and this breeder had a beautiful website and people thought was a reputable breeder.
Yes, good boy. I'm actually his third home. So he was given up as a puppy. Not really sure why, probably because he was a German Shepherd, and sometimes people don't realize if they get a specific breed, they might be like more work than they think they might be. Like a lot of people will like, oh, I really like this breed because they're like beautiful or whatever, and then they really don't realize they can be quite challenging. I knew he had a bite history, and so I knew it was going to take a little while for him to trust me.
So I adopted Pink December 27th, 2014. They had picked her up. She was wandering along the side of the road with her biological daughter. They had suspected that she was from a puppy mill situation, just her age and the number of times she'd been bred. So you could tell she didn't really know what to do sort of outside. Her paws were baby soft, like as if, she'd never walked. She was terrified of cars and didn't really even understand the concept of like walking and what a leash was.
From what we were given to understand, Kipper came from a hoarding situation in which he was in a house with a great many other animals. And so he had to deal with a lot of things like resource scarcity.
A lot of training issues that we see in rescue dogs have to do with the type of environment that they maybe were in wherever they came from. Sometimes we see dogs who maybe were confined in cages or tied up who might have had issues with barrier frustration, so struggling with some reactivity troubles.
In the early days, within the first couple of weeks, he bit me twice. He seemed to settle quite well, but he didn't quite trust me. Like, he would resource guard his food, he would resource guard his crate, he would want to be in my general area, but he didn't want me really approaching him or touching him.
I remember going to pet her head, and when I went, put my hand towards her head, she cowered and she flinched, like as if I was going to hit her. So they also suspect that she came perhaps from an abusive situation.
So he had some behaviors where he would guard resources like his toys or his food or his bed, and he was very reactive towards other animals and people, basically anyone except myself and my partner. Anything outside our screen door represented a big scary world, and he wanted to project power and fierceness so he wouldn't get hurt.
As they get more bonded with their humans, they may start to feel the need to guard those individuals from other dogs or other people. And you might start to see resource guarding or even reactivity out on walks start to increase over time. So something to watch for would be a dog's vigilance when they're out in the world and what they're paying attention to, even if they're doing it quietly, because over time that can start to develop into something that might become more loud as their comfort starts to shift or their confidence starts to shift.
So when Houston first came into our home, we honestly thought there would be a real adjustment period because he'd been through so much. But we were shocked at just how quickly he adapted. And I mean, within days, he was lying on his back, letting us rub his belly, snuggling with the other dogs, really curious and wanting to be around not just the other dogs, but with us as well, and with visitors to the house. He's never been shy to meet new people, which I think just speaks to the resiliency of these animals, that regardless of the challenges and the pain that he went through, that the moment that they realize they're in a safe place, they just open up and make themselves available to be loved and to give love.
All right, so I've noticed huge changes. And like I said, it did take a couple of months. Like, even in October of that year, he bit me for the third and final time. He's definitely learned to trust me a lot. He has come out of his shell hugely. You would never know he had a history of being nervous around people. He's so much better in my apartment building. Like, there's people he looks forward to seeing. He shares the elevator with people, no problem. He is so happy to meet and greet people. When we go to the off-leash parks, he runs up to people for pets and scratches. Everyone's like, I can't believe how friendly he is for a German Shepherd. This is crazy. He loves people now. He'll literally go in the bed and bark at me to come cuddle with him. It's so adorable.
He's very strong-willed, very much a big part of the farm. When you get to the farm, he's at the gates, standing as tall as he can, showing off his leg strength. He will walk on his back legs. He jumps on his back legs. He can actually jump up on the couch or up on a chair just using his back legs like a kangaroo would.
Kipper's a lot more confident now, and he's much more mellow. He's cuddly, and of course age, mellows us all.
When she first came into my life, she wouldn't let anybody touch her tummy. She would not let anybody touch her tummy. And now every night, I know she's ready for bed because she stretches out on her back and I have to give her a few minutes of tummy rubs.
Over the course of the first 2 years with Jersey, I want to say she had aspiration pneumonia at least 4 times. It's changed my life in just about every way because my life revolves around her.
When helping a rescue dog to settle into their home, it's really nice when we can give them the time that they need to adjust. And being patient is an important part of that. It can take weeks or months for a dog to really start to show their true personality. The more we can provide them with safe, quiet spaces to just relax and to decompress is really important for them, and to embrace the activities that they show us that they're enjoying.
I would say to somebody who is thinking of adopting a former mill dog, think about what they've been through and kind of put yourself in their shoes. It's a new environment. They're going to be hesitant. They're going to be scared, and just sort of hang in there because it's going to be worth it. I promise you. In the end, it's so rewarding to just see them trust you just a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more. Might take a year, it might take a few months, but eventually their true self comes out, and it's beautiful and it's rewarding.
What I would say to someone wanting to adopt a dog with medical needs, you absolutely need to have flexibility. That's a major thing. It adds a great deal of joy to your life as well when you see the dog is healthy and good and happy too.
I've fostered many mill dogs over the years, and they've all ended up responding to love and care. Some do better than others, and not every mill dog is suited to every type of home. But I would say don't hesitate to give love to these dogs. For the people who do end up adopting mill dogs, I think they're always very, very happy that they did.
I think I also would have looked at them and said, "Aw, poor dog," or felt sorry for them. It's the last thing that they would want anyone to feel. There's nothing to feel bad about. Don't feel sorry for them. Just be amazed at how well they do, but they do not care one bit that they were born differently. They don't know and they don't care.
Adopting a dog with a challenging past can be extremely rewarding. It can be extremely frustrating. But eventually they do learn to trust you and they become a great member of your family.
A lot of these animals are going to be scared. They're going to have trust issues. But the important thing to remember is they want to trust you. They need you. And if you don't give up on them, they will never give up on you.
I think you have to look past what they've been through and look at what you can give them, because ultimately that is what makes the difference for them, and they'll give it back to you 100-200%. So don't pigeonhole yourself into the magazine cover puppy. Look at the dogs who need you as much as you need them. It's worth it.